What's up, guys? Welcome to Box to Box Football, and I'm back here with a special edition. Just a quick warning for Tottenham fans: please look away now, because this is not one that you're going to enjoy. This is not for you. Unfortunately, your star player, your star man, your talisman, Harry Kane himself, has kind of made it clear in a way that he wants to leave Tottenham. Now, there have been numerous reports stating that Harry Kane wants to leave and doesn't want to hand in the transfer request, but he had an interview with Gary Neville and just kind of stated his desire to go on and do bigger things. Now, Jack, I know you have a few quotes just to read out about our.
Yeah. So, for everybody watching, I really recommend you go watch it. First and foremost, Gary Neville is really good at acknowledging some of the ridiculous questions that he wants to ask because he knows that, but he also understands that they're stupid questions which Kane can't really answer. And Harry Kane's aware of that too. So there's a lot of kind of cute, tongue-in-cheek kind of moments. So I think there was a chip maybe on the third hole, and he said, "Hey Gary, if you get this chip within 4 feet of the hole, you can ask me anything." And Gary, to be fair to him, played this nice little like 9-iron, little kind of punch shot. Then it got within 4 feet. So Gary kind of with a smile goes like, "So Manchester United," and Kane's like, "It's not quite 4 feet, Gary." Like, so it was a really good interview, very engaging. And I give Harry Kane a lot of credit. He even mentions in the interview, this, I'll kind of try and segue into it. He mentions in the interview, like, he feels that American sports athletes can be a bit more honest and the press try and be more honest. And I think that's what he tried to do here. I mean, James, how many times do we see, "Hey, Steven Gerrard, what's your ideal Sunday brunch?" And Steven Gerrard goes, "Well, the gaffer we tried to make it." And it's like, dude, you're completely avoiding the question. You're just doing the same stuff we always hear. But anyway, so Harry Kane, for me, I don't want to come to the end of my career, have any regrets. I want to be the best I can be. I've said before, I never say I'd stay at Spurs for the rest of my career. I also said I'd never leave Spurs. I'm at that stage where you can say, people may say, "Oh, he's just desperate for trophies. He needs the trophies." I still feel like I've got almost another career to play. I've got 7 or 8 years, kind of what I've had in the Premier League so far. I'm not rushing anything. I'm not desperate to do anything. But yeah, I just want to be the best version of me. I feel like for sure I've got so much more to give. I can be even better than what I've been producing. I can produce better numbers than what I'm producing at the moment. So with regards to the Kane comments there, I think what's kind of surprising is he does think he can do better. And he does want to challenge himself. He does want to be the best. He references in the interview Michael Jordan. He references Tom Brady. He references Messi, Ronaldo, Zlatan, Lewandowski. So Kane is clearly trying to be the best, but I think he wants to be respectful. And his main point, and I think this is where reports today about how angry Daniel Levy was with the interview, Kane wants to have an honest conversation with the chairman about his future.
But let's just segue into the elephant in the room. Kane basically wants to leave Tottenham.
Right.
And there are, if we're being honest, 3 teams who are really in the running to sign Harry Kane and who probably need him the most. Let's talk about them and let's see what team is most eligible to sign him. We might have to add like a swap in there, because realistically, the way Daniel Levy is, he's going to want an astronomical amounts of money for him, and which is understandable. He's your player. You ask for as much as you want, but in the current climate, I doubt you're going to get that. But you could see a thing where he might offer money and maybe 1 or 2 players. But let's get into it, and let's just talk about this first one, Man City. How much possible do you think it is for Harry Kane to join Man City?
I think it's very possible. I think it contradicts Pep's comments from about a month ago where they said they're not going to sign a big-name striker. I mean, to say that you're not going to sign a big-name striker and then sign Harry Kane is one of the biggest contradictions in the history of football. But saying that, when Pep said that, I don't think that he got any sort of sense that Harry Kane would be available for Man City to buy. You mentioned 3 teams. Now, I think there are 3 teams possible, and I think Man City are one of them. But realistically, I think it's only going to be one of 2, and I think it will be the Manchester club. So, yeah, I think it's possible for Man City. You mentioned it already, James, but trade packages, especially in a coronavirus market, are going to be massive. If you have very valuable assets who aren't key players to your team, I'm thinking Aymeric Laporte right now. I'm thinking like Nathan Ake. I'm thinking like even somebody like a Ferran Torres, Zach Steffen, their backup goalkeeper. Tottenham do want a goalkeeper. If you put an offer on the table for like Aymeric Laporte, Zach Steffen, and maybe, I don't know, 40 million, 30 or 40 million, that's definitely something I can see Man City wanting and Tottenham wanting.
I think the only thing about it, I feel like Tottenham would want a lot of money. My thing with this is that if it does happen, it's game over. It's done. In the Premier League, this is the equivalent of Kevin Durant joining the Warriors.
Right.
Because it makes the best team already even better. It makes the rest of the teams just, the gap just increases. Now, Man City, to me, if they do sign a striker, they have filled every weakness that they have. Because to me, that's the one weakness that like that they have. The goals are shared around, but there are going to be times when you need an out goal scorer, when things are going rough, like they've had for Aguero for so many years. And they bring in a player like Harry Kane, who is a walking 30 goals a season guy.
Especially
with this Man City team. It's going to be 40 goals a season. I think that this is the one that Harry Kane probably likes the most, to the point of view of it's the easiest option for him to be successful. He joins Man City, he will be successful there. That is a minimum of 3 Premier League titles.
Right.
What are you going to do with that?
And I think you make the point there. That's the easiest move. One player I didn't mention. So Aguero's obviously, he's agreed to go to Barcelona, and that's going to be fun. If he gets minutes on the pitch, here's hoping. Like, I want to see Messi and Aguero play together. That's going to be very fun. But Gabriel Jesus, maybe Gabriel Jesus is included in a package because, Man City could easily promote somebody. We know Pep is very happy playing without a proper number 9 if Kane has an injury of some description. So there's another player to be added. I agree with you. I think that will be the easiest move for him. 3 Premier League titles? Absolutely. Maybe more. That's...
And maybe even Champions League in there. This is if that happens, to me, it's just a write-off for God knows how long,
Over the course of his contract... I don't think I'm being too dramatic here. That's a golden boot every season.
Oh, what are you going to do with Kevin De Bruyne, Ilkay Gundogan, Riyad Mahrez, Sterling,
Just quickly, Gary Neville asked, which player do you think, oh my God, I'd love to play with them. I'd get so many goals with them. He said Kevin De Bruyne. He's an absolute one. You could see Gary Neville go, why didn't you say Bruno Fernandes?
It's true. It's true. But let's talk about the other Manchester club. And we done a previous video on this, stating on why Harry Kane should join Man United. And to me, this is the one that should happen, and it's the best option for him overall. And I think it's Man United. How possible do you think this is?
I think it's very possible. I'm really finding it difficult to say which is more likely. And usually I can be quite opinionated, and I can kind of justify why I'm having my opinion. I'm not always right, but I can kind of with a bit of weight go, yeah, hey, I feel this way. I cannot split the 2 Manchester clubs. The one thing I would say, I think Man City probably have more cash available, but I think Manchester United probably have the more appealing trade style options. I mean, I gave you kind of a Man City example of what a trade of players might look like. If you're Manchester United and you offer Dean Henderson, who since being the starter has been fine, but is that going to be the number 1 at Manchester United for the next 10 years? I'd say probably not. And somebody like an Anthony Martial, right? And then some money on top of that.
Or even a Jesse Lingard, who Tottenham have been linked with heavily.
Right. Jesse Lingard, Eric Bailly, a Victor Lindelof. There's, Manchester United is still in the market for a centre-back. So plenty of options there. Here's where I agree with you, James. I think Man United over the next 3 or 4 years, it's probably not 3 Premier League titles, but maybe it's 2. Right? Because I think we've seen the impact of Edinson Cavani. I wonder if Edinson Cavani starts every single game for this Manchester United team since the beginning of the season till now, Manchester United are potentially going to win the title. So if you can have kind of a like for like, I know they have different styles, but in terms of a goal output, Cavani and Kane are kind of right up there if they play a full season.
I look at this Manchester United team, and I believe that they're 3 players away from genuinely challenging from the league. A centre-back,
yep,
centre midfielder, and a striker.
I'm not so sure about centre mid, but yes, but go ahead, yeah.
But I look at Harry Kane, and I believe that he fits in everything Man United need as a player. He's a bona fide goal scorer when things are going south, which happened for Manchester United a lot in games where they just get really boring and get quite pedestrian. You need a player that can do something out of nothing. And Harry Kane is that guy.
Dude, I'm leaving that in. I'm leaving that in. Is that your alarm?
No, that's my brother's alarm, and he's not even getting up. What a turkey.
Here's what I
say. Edit off our house.
It kind of reminds me of like an Alan Shearer part 2. You know, it's a chance of getting the guy. It's their white whale. You know, the guy they couldn't get to begin with. But the way I kind of feel about it, I think Man City are going to really try and, if they win the Champions League this year and sign Harry Kane, I mean,
but Jack, I've got to a point with this Man United team that next season, no more excuses. You've had a lot of years of transition of a second place finish here or fourth place Champions League, and we'll let you get away with it. We need a few players. You've had 4 years of this right now. Next season, no joke, challenge for the league.
Well, James as well.
Actually challenge.
I agree with you, but I only agree with you, I think, if Jadon Sancho comes in, right, or if Koundé or Pau Torres or Sven Botman, you know, they get that other centre-back they want, I then kind of go, right, you've addressed like the issues which everyone agrees are the remaining issues. If you now don't win it, then yeah, like you said, there are no excuses anymore. None.
But I feel just signing Harry Kane gives them no. I think next season just gives them no excuse anyway because I'm not having it. But Harry Kane gives them no excuse now. They must challenge, and it's not a one where they're 10 points off Man City, with 10 games to go, and telling me we've had a good season. Take Man City, Liverpool to the wire for the title next season. Man United are too big of a club not to do so. So next team, Chelsea. Now, I look at the Chelsea team this year with Thomas Tuchel. He's been fantastic since he's came in. But the one glaring thing about this Chelsea team is that they cannot score for their lives. I've never seen a team, Liverpool also, with so many chances, but the lack of clinical finishing is horrendous. And the one thing this Chelsea team needs, and it goes back to me 2014 when I think about that Jose Mourinho side, who he said that we're almost like the little horse with a few more signings we're going to challenge. And the main one that they wanted was a striker, and Diego Costa was their guy. I genuinely think that a striker is going to be Chelsea's guy for the season. If they get a Harry Kane, it's a wraps. But again, you can go into a bit more detail on this and why you believe why it may not happen.
So this is the one that in my head just does not happen at all. And I'll tell you why it's maybe a bit sad for Chelsea fans. In my opinion, it's the best trade package. If you can get Eduard Mendy or Kepa Arrizabalaga, then throw in like a Kurt Zouma, let's say, as an example, then throw in a Tammy Abraham or a Hakim Ziyech or somebody like this. You know, obviously you're not going to give away 4 players, but some sort of combination of these players that would be very, especially a Tammy Abraham. I mean, geez, that's going to be, I mean, Tammy Abraham is on the verge of just an absolute breakout season. We saw how good he was in patches this year, but he's just not being picked for some reason. But here's why. I've been to a bunch of Chelsea games over the last few years, obviously not the last year, of course. But at the beginning, there's that song that they play, and it's "We Hate Tottenham, Chelsea," right? That's their whole kind of gimmick at the beginning before the match. I cannot see in my mind if Harry Kane has an option to join Manchester United, Manchester City, Real Madrid, or Chelsea, where he would just pick Chelsea. I even believe if Harry Kane was given the option, stay at Tottenham for 1 more year or join Chelsea, he would choose to stay at Tottenham. It's, to me, for him, England's captain, all this kind of stuff, it would be career suicide for him. He would, James, he would have great success. I wouldn't rule out some Premier League titles for Chelsea. Like, it would be all this stuff, but Harry Kane would be tearing down this brilliant white knight image in an England kit type thing. because he joins a rival. Do you know what I mean? He joins kind of a rival team. I'm not sure about that.
I think it's more of Tottenham fans getting angry than anything else. As long as he doesn't join us, I feel like they're not going to kick up that much of a fuss.
Right.
But Chelsea, I can understand here. But let's throw in a few wild cards here. One that I think that it works is Liverpool. What do you think about that, Jack? Harry Kane joining Liverpool.
Yeah, no, hey, I like it. I mean, we know, I think, for a fact that one of Salah or Mane is going to have to be sold to facilitate that. I think Diogo Jota is the replacement there. Roberto Firmino might have to be, accepting of a backup spot, or maybe he'll potentially be on the move. But my biggest issue is, what do we hear all the time about the transfer market this coming summer? Everybody's trying to have a clear out. Everybody's a selling club. Well, guys, economics suggests that if everybody's selling and nobody's buying, then nobody buys from the selling clubs. So as far as I'm concerned, I think that it would be a good move for Harry Kane. And I think especially with Virgil van Dijk coming back and Harry Kane up front, I mean, oh my God, this is potentially a title over the next couple of years. I'm not so sure. They've got to do a lot of moving around, Liverpool.
Liverpool's front three, to me, have run its course.
Right.
Great when it was at its peak, but right now I just don't feel like it's the same. So one of them is going to have to leave. It's rather going to be Firmino or Mane. I think Salah is the one that says. Go ahead, Jack.
What's your, if you were a Liverpool fan and you could pick your dream front three for next year? I'm going to kind of assume that it's Jota, Kane. Who's the third one you want to keep? Is it Salah?
It has to be Mo Salah. Has to be.
Okay.
But I look at it, and the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. Liverpool lack goals. I think this crazy stat, they had like 180 something shots and at Anfield scored 3 goals. We've seen how wasteful they've been in front of goal, and then they add the most the deadliest striker in the Premier League to the mix. It makes sense, but the only problem I have with it is that are Liverpool willing to take that another mile to invest to make them great again? Because Liverpool, it's great what Jurgen Klopp has done, but now he needs to take it to the next step, the next stage of Liverpool, and kind of almost rebuild this team. Harry Kane would be a great option, but I just don't think the owners are going to willing to invest that much in Harry Kane. But I just want to put out a few ones there before we call it quits. Paris Saint-Germain, Pochettino, Kane, Neymar, Mbappe. Is that possible?
It makes a lot of sense. Everything that I'm reading and the people that I trust and listen to, I do feel as though Kylian Mbappe will be going to Real Madrid this summer. I really do feel strongly about that. And I think because Haaland has made top Champions League places with Dortmund, Haaland will see out one more season at Dortmund. I honestly thought that Dortmund wouldn't make top 4 and Haaland would push for a move, but I think Haaland will have his final year at Dortmund, and then the summer after, I think Real Madrid will push to have Mbappe this summer, Haaland next summer, which is nuts. So there is a spot there, James. And Pochettino, hey, if you're kind of connecting the dots there, it makes a hell of a lot of sense. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm just not so sure Harry Kane is willing to give up the Premier League record that obviously I'm sure he's shooting for. You also have to consider at this point that Man City are a better team than Paris Saint-Germain, and Kane isn't going to be tested as much at PSG as he would be for Man City or Man United.
I think the one thing right there is the whole move is cool.
Right.
But I feel like Kane is hell-bent on staying in the Premier League and being the man in the Premier League. So that's why I kind of keep it 2 teams in the Premier League. Paris Saint-Germain could work, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Real Madrid,
he's also he's not sexy or cool enough to play for PSG. Like, I'm just
he has a list, and the list don't really work with the PSGs.
And Harry Kane with that hairline with the Jordan kit. I'm just like it's cool.
Listen, Harry Kane's hairline isn't too bad. Like, come on, Jack.
Like,
but guys, we've been chatting about Harry Kane for a while. Please let me know what you think. Liverpool fans, Chelsea fans, Man United fans, Man City fans, let us know. Do you think Harry Kane's going to join your team this summer? Tottenham fans, what do you think is going to happen? Let us know.
Just before we finish up, James, if I forced you, knife to the throat kind of thing, like who are you picking? Who's he going to?
Man United.
Oh my God! Okay, I'm going to say Man City.
So if you agree or disagree, let us know. Comments down below. This is Box to Box Football. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.